Hi, I'm Chris from HelpDesk, and welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm excited to show you how you can develop a custom camera rig add-on for Blender using Python with the assistance of ChatGPT. In this video, we'll walk through the process of creating an add-on that automates the setup of a camera rig, like the one we did in the last tutorial. This includes guiding a camera along a path curve, creating target empties for selected objects, smoothly switching camera targets, and dynamically adjusting depth of field focus, all through scripting. But no worries. If you're like me and have absolutely no idea about coding, that's not a problem, because ChatGPT takes care of the heavy lifting for us. We just need to know exactly what we want. So, whether you're a Blender enthusiast looking to enhance your workflow or someone interested in AI-assisted development, this tutorial is for you. Let's dive in and see how we brought this add-on to life with the help of ChatGPT. Now, when I began developing this add-on, I provided a very detailed prompt to the AI assistant. Let me share it with you. I want to write a Blender plugin for Blender version 4.2 in Python. The plugin should create a camera rig. A camera should be guided along a path curve. For all selected objects, target empties should be created at their origins. The camera should have track to constraints aimed at the target empties. The empties should be parented to the objects. The camera should then be animated along the path curve, with keyframes already set for target switching in the track to constraints via influence values. Lastly, an additional empty, called focus empty, should move with the target switches using copy location constraints. This should be done via drivers that link the influence values of the tracked constraints with the copy location constraints of the focus empty. That should give us exactly what we had when we set up the rig manually in the last tutorial. I'm trying to define as comprehensively as possible what the add-on should be able to do. I then added two more parameters. It would be great if, at the beginning, I could select one or more objects and then be prompted to specify the order in which the objects should be traversed. And it would be great if the curve is created in such a way that, if there is only one object, a semicircle is formed around the object, and if there are multiple objects, the curve describes a path parallel to the objects. And, to make it as clear as possible, I've attached a chain of events. In the viewport side panel, create a new panel named My Cam Rig. Inside the My Cam Rig panel, add a button labeled Setup Cam Rig. On button press when one or multiple objects are selected, check for existing camera. Verify if a camera already exists in the scene. If not, create a new one. Insert a path curve into the scene. Ensure it has a basic shape with the 5 default anchor points evenly distributed. Name this curve Cam Path. Add a follow path constraint to the camera, targeting the cam path curve. Set the camera's location to coordinates 0, 0, 0. At the first frame of the timeline, frame 0, set the offset value of the follow path constraint to 0 and insert a keyframe. At the last frame of the timeline, e.g. frame 100, set the influence to -100 and insert another keyframe. For each selected object, create an empty object at its origin. Name each empty target object name. Replace object name with the actual name of the object. For each target empty created, add a track to constraint to the camera. Set the respective empty as the target of this constraint. If multiple objects are selected, prompt the user with the question, in which order do you want the camera to target the objects? Adjust the direction of the cam path curve so the camera targets the objects in the specified order. Divide the timeline equally so that each object is focused on for the same number of frames. For each transition between targets, keyframe the influence value of the track to constraints from 0 to 1. Use an interval equal to twice the frame rate, for example over 2 seconds, so that each target switch smoothly occurs over this duration. Create an empty object at the origin of the first object and name it Focus Target. Enable the depth of field option. Set the focus target empty as the focus object. Add as many copy location constraints to the focus target empty as there are target objects. Use drivers to link the influence values of the camera's track to constraints to the corresponding copy location constraint influences on the focus target. Here's the thing. You don't have to come up with that list on your own either. You can write it with the help of ChatGPT too, simply by asking for it and refine it in the conversation. And now, after crafting this carefully prepared prompt, finally we hit enter. In the new version, ChatGPT thinks before responding and tries to implement our prompt in the best possible way. And here we go. ChatGPT has given us a lot of lines of code. In this tutorial, we won't go through it line by line, but I highly recommend doing so on your own. ChatGPT explains the code well, and you can learn a lot from it. But for now, we just copy the code over to a text field in Blender and execute it. And tada, the sidebar of the viewport now has the My Cam Rig tab, and in the add-on panel there's the Setup Cam Rig button. Let's see what happens when we press it. Okay, not too shabby. With this we have a first draft. Now it's important to test the add-on for errors and see if it does everything it's supposed to do. Obviously, a path for the camera and a focus target empty were created. And there is the target empty for the cube. And the camera is animated along the path. Let me rearrange the viewport to see better. The depth of field box is checked, and it correctly assigned the focus target as the focus object. The path is a semicircle, and we have a lot more than 5 anchor points here, but that doesn't matter that much. The camera has a track to constraint, and the target empty of the cube is correctly assigned as the target. And both the offset value of the follow path constraint and the influence value of the track to constraint are animated. The keyframes are a bit out of the set range, and apparently you don't need to set the value of the offset value in the follow path constraint to -100. But other than that, it pretty much does what it should. Now, how will it do with multiple objects? Let's find out. I see a problem. The path is still a semicircle instead of a line parallel to the objects, and there seem to be no empties created for the objects. And we weren't asked in which order the objects should be traversed. Let's ask ChatGPT to fix that. Well done. Even machines need encouragement. But a few things still need adjustments. When there are multiple objects, not all empties are created. There's no prompt asking in which order the objects should be traversed, and the curve doesn't run parallel to the objects. Could you fix that? In AI-assisted development, it's normal to go back and forth a few times before achieving the desired result. Don't get discouraged if it doesn't work right away. Okay, we take the new code, implement and execute it. Let's see what we've got. Ah, shoot, a traceback error. Not a problem. We can copy that error right from the console and give it to ChatGPT to fix it. That actually takes a bit longer. I have sped up the video for your convenience. Okay, ChatGPT seems to have caught the error and provided us with revised code. Let's try that. Aha! There is the prompt asking us about the order of the objects. Let's move things around. Okay, let's see. Nope, still weird. The empties are out of place and the influence values go back to 0 when they should stay at 1. That's what's happening. Okay, better, but 2 empties are not at the origin of the objects, and the behavior of the influences of the track to constraints should be additive. This means the track to constraint stack should be set up with the first track to constraint at the top of the stack, the second below it, and the third below that. The first influence value can simply stay at 1, and when the target needs to switch, the second influence value is increased and can stay at 1 when the third influence value is raised. Let's grab that and execute it, and let's see if it is what we want now. Let's rearrange the order and hit OK. Still strange. Let's see. I think I know what the problem is. The follow path constraint should always be at the top of the stack. Now it does what it should. Let's give that to ChatGPT so it can revise the code. And there we have it. ChatGPT acknowledges the error and gives us the corrected code. Let's copy that over to Blender and see if everything works as expected. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Now we can use this add-on whenever we need a quick and versatile camera rig, and all with just one click. I love one-button solutions. This tutorial was more about how to get started with AI-assisted development without diving too deep into the details. I hope you still found it enjoyable and informative. The goal was to show you how powerful and efficient AI can be in streamlining your workflow, even if we didn't cover every single aspect. Hopefully, it's inspired you to experiment and explore further on your own. If you found this useful, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tricks. See you in the next one.